right, welcome back, guys. This is the GSL Code S. You are looking at live shots from our studio here in Mokdong, Seoul, South Korea. I am Do, and with me is Wolf. Thanks to our sponsors for bringing us such awesome matches. We just saw FXO Oz advance against Slayers MMA in a best of 5. I'm still a little bit surprised it happened, but at the same time, Oz has shown himself to be one of the best PVTers out there and easily one of the best Protoss in StarCraft 2 right now. So he deserves it.
And, he had a pretty good run through here. His groups did not have very many Zergs. And in general, right now, Code S has kind of a lack of Zergs. But, defeating MMA, now he's going to be going up against either Puzzle or jjakji, who are players that are about to play right now. And either way, he's got, based on his history of what matchups he's good at, he's got a pretty good chance against either of them. So we could see this guy in the finals.
I would agree. I would say it's completely likely. That last match was so interesting because it really showed how Terran players are needing to adapt to the quicker upgrades, the cheaper upgrades for Protoss, and the EMP range a little bit. I think those two things did actually have a bit of an effect on those games. So very interesting to see how the different races are adapting to them. I think Protoss is starting to, I think for those Protoss players out there that are either very whiny or would just like their race to do better, I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel now. I don't know. I just make it my goal to troll Protoss players.
Well, I always just want to recommend people to watch Oz's VODs for PVT. Yeah. If you're having trouble with PVT, watch his VODs. Watch Creator Prime's VODs as well. Both of these guys just so good at the matchup. They have really good build orders. Watch them. Watch their decision-making, and when they attack, seriously, do it.
It's true. Our next match is actually going to be, I would say, very awesome as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be, we're going to see it in a second. It's going to be another player from Team Slayers. Yep. For the Protoss race, it is Puzzle, formerly Zenex.
Losing in the open bracket of MLG, also a little bit jet-lagged, so not up to his full potential strength here, perhaps.
Like pretty much everybody is. Imagine if these guys had to play yesterday like the original schedule was.
Yeah, that would have been terrible. I have to say, Puzzle's kind of flown under everyone's radar. I was a big Puzzle fanboy almost, I guess you could say. A few months ago, I was like, oh, this guy's going to be the best. Then he played in Code S and just did not. He disappointed me. He actually just disappointed me so badly that I was like, okay, maybe I was wrong about this guy.
But tore your Puzzle posters off the wall.
I did, man.
Threw away his autographs.
I put some puzzles together. I didn't want the pieces scattered around my room anymore because it reminded him too much. I was like, this isn't a puzzle anymore, it's solved.
That's right.
But I think he's definitely getting a lot better. He's been training really hard. And jjakji, the Terran star of NS Hosa, here to show his stuff, man. Look at his win rates versus Protoss down there. Pretty high.
Yeah.
Not a lot of experience, not a lot of matches to show, but...
Well, this kid is really good. I mean, you talked about Creator Prime a little bit earlier. We've talked about Lenok, kind of the rising stars for their races. I feel like jjakji is one of the rising up-and-comers. He's like one of the next generation of what will be some of the best Terran players out there. I really feel like this kid is going to go far in a couple months, so definitely keep an eye on him as well. We'll see if he can get to the semifinals of the GSL today. I guess you could call him the puzzle fighter.
I guess so.
He's going to do his best. So there's a lightsaber between them. What?
There was something he had in his hand. It looked like he had he had like a poker hand in his hand or something. It looked like he had a few playing cards in his hand.
That's something I've noticed with the Slayers players. I think a lot of them have note cards for notes on the builds and stuff during the matches. I think it's something that their new strategy coach is having them do.
Oh, well, that was jjakji that had it though. So I don't know.
I thought I saw. Never mind.
But it's fine. I'm not trying to delegitimize what you're saying. That's true. I've heard that as well. But
they do.
It might have even been just a towel that I saw just at a weird angle. But I was like, I wonder why he has cards in his booth.
There can only be one towel, Terran Wolf. It's not jjakji.
Daybreak, Calm Before the Storm, Belshir, Tal'Darim Altar, and Antigua Shipyard are our maps.
Yeah.
No dual sight in there.
No dual sight. That's right. I'm going to talk about dual sight a little bit once the game starts, but the loading screen has loaded. Soon, these titans will clash. Who will be champion on the stage of history today? Get all Soul Calibur with it. All right. It's game time, guys.
One of them just opens their mouth and goes,
Did it again. Round one. Fight. All right, up at the top of the map, in the red from the Team Slayers. His builds are a mystery. You need to find the corner pieces first. It's the easiest way because he is... Yeah, what he said. Oh, no more for Terran. All right. And down at the bottom of the map in the blue is our Terran player from the team NS Hoso. It is
NS Hoso jjakji. 이길 수 있겠나, 프로토스?
I like that, man.
all right. You tell him who's boss, jjakji. All
I'm
right.
curious to see what they're going to say tomorrow. Ooh, puzzle. Not chrono boosting right away. I was like, oh, he's got some sort of plan. Then he just chrono boosted right when I had that thought. I was like, oh no, he just didn't chrono for about 15 seconds.
Look
Oops.
at that. Look at that. 78.9% say that puzzle will advance over jjakji. What MMA lost? Are things?
No!
That's a good one. I like that, Cheerful. That's great. See, they added in another no at the end of Return of the Jedi now in the Blu-ray.
I did not see
Why? When I see that, I'm just like, no.
I guess I just need to sit down and watch those Blu-rays, man.
I don't know. I don't think my heart can take it. A moment of silence, I guess,
know.
for that.
Let's have a moment of silence for the mothership, Lee.
Moment of silence. Right?
Well, right now, Josh is doing a very normal opening. Gonna probably make a tech lab. Actually, no, he's gonna make a factory. He made a second marine. He's gonna make that factory. So we're gonna see a very unusual strategy for this map.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can do a 1-1-1 on this map.
Puzzle
it's not
is
unheard of.
not chrono boosting, man. He's got 75 chrono energy on that Nexus.
Is he just gonna 4-gate or something?
I think that's what it's starting to look like. Immediately chrono boosting his core and his stalker, but I think it's very likely we'll see a 4-gate from him.
Yeah.
Ooh, engineering bay block on the Nexus.
That may not be too useful if his opponent decides to 4-gate. Oh, second gas though, so it's not going to be a 4-gate.
Could be a Void Ray all in as well.
I think it could be that, or it could just be being a little bit lazy with his chrono.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like devalue him and say that like he missed his chronos, because that just is so uncharacteristic of a player who's made it to the round of 8.
I know.
Twilight Council goes down, so
so
maybe
there we
a
go.
Blink build. I don't think Dark Templar.
I think that the second gas was a little bit late.
Yeah,
for
too
DTs.
late for DTs.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a Blink Stalker build.
Huh. Well, Puzzle, you are a puzzle, aren't you?
Yeah, his build here is, I would say, quite puzzling.
Quite
Put it
puzzling.
bluntly.
Yeah. And it's not like one of those Where's Waldo puzzles where you don't have to put anything together, you just have to look for the guy.
It's going to be
put this together.
It's going to be a DT expand, actually.
Okay.
It's not the most well-timed DT expand, but guess what he's up against, man? He's going up against a Cloak Banshee build, and that's the worst possible collision of build orders for
yeah,
Puzzle.
This is going to be really weird.
Especially if this
not in a good way
SCV
for
sees
Puzzle.
anything, but nope.
Yeah, this is a very strange expand by Puzzle, because like you said, he got his second gas kind of late. I don't know, it's just a little bit weird. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, but yeah, with Cloak Banshees on the way, it is going to be very, very difficult for Puzzle to survive this, because he's not going to have any detection.
He does have a lot of chrono energy to use on his gateways, because he's not been chronoing, and this time it's not because it's a mistake. This time he didn't have anything to really chrono except probes. He's actually making a pylon very forward here.
An armory going up right now for jjakji. An armory.
An armory.
Armory.
That is what you use to build Thors.
Yeah. Okay, these guys are both doing like really strange builds right now. I think jjakji's going to have the upper hand here.
Oh, absolutely, man.
But if the DTs hit at a time when there's no energy for scans, which can happen, because the timing's a little bit weird, we could see a very interesting game.
We very well could, but with the ability for jjakji to make Ravens, he probably will make a Raven after the second Banshee.
That's true.
Banshee's going to be forced to cloak maybe a little bit prematurely.
No, he's just going to go for it. He's like, you have to chase me. And he didn't want to reveal that he had cloak either. He wanted every second out of that he could.
Yeah.
And now Puzzle's got to be like, uh-oh, yeah, starts a Robo Bay immediately.
Oh man, I think Puzzle is in so much trouble. He is going to send this DT in here, but guess what? There's a scan ready.
Yes, there
but
is.
3 DTs.
There's a Thor on the way as well. He is making a Thor.
Yeah.
And those DTs, it's going to be a little bit difficult to take this because he only has 1 bunker's worth of Marines. Look at that. This is what I was talking about. He doesn't have any units because he decided to go for a Thor after the Cloaked Banshee.
He canceled the Thor. He does get the reactor. Good. There is a Raven on the way.
Yeah, well, he needed to cancel the Thor so he could make the Raven. But, well, this is just strange. All right, this DT is going to get more kills. If we look at the worker count right now, it's about even between the DTs and the Banshees here.
Yeah, Forge made here to help deter the Banshee as well.
Yep.
Scan goes down, 1 DT remains in the main, doing a lot of damage to his starport, but probably not the best usage of that DT. Gonna kill some more Marines here. The Raven comes out, and not the best micro there, but Puzzle is ahead in supply right now. The supply 33 for Puzzle, 29 for jjakji, 21 probes to 16 SCVs, but with 2 mules being able to be dropped.
Yeah, well, we are
going to be an even game.
Yeah, it's going to make Puzzle have to use the Chrono Boost on his Nexi, or Nexuses, which he wouldn't want to normally if he wants to catch up in that worker count.
For some reason, just transferred all of his probes from his natural back into his main base.
Well, he's not really too oversaturated there, so I guess I can see why. I mean, it does keep him, you know, a little bit safer, but a little bit surprising to see.
Yeah, he's rallying them there, too. He's got 2 probes more than optimal saturation there.
Yeah.
Puzzle, I think, I'm seeing a little bit of nervousness in Puzzle's play, man.
Oh, here comes a Banshee again. No cannons there yet. There is an observer, though, so should be okay. And yeah, that Banshee's just going to go right after that Stalker. You can take it out. Second Stalker warping in, though, and a third, so that Banshee's going to run for it.
I guess keeping his probes in his main base while he only had 1 observer.
Sorry, I'm just like blown away that he's making a Thor, man. I mean, he's making it again. He really wants to get those Thors.
Well, it's a smart build to do against the build that Puzzle has shown. He's not going to have very many tough units to deal with the Thor, and it's going to be really rough for him to hold that.
Oh,
DT says no, you cannot have the Watchtower.
Knocked all his blood right out.
Yeah, he's got a Thor out. Thor is here, second Thor on the way. He's probably going to push with 2 Thors, and I don't think Puzzle will be able to hold.
2 Thors and a lot of Marines is really, really difficult
especially
to deal
when
with.
he pulls the SCVs to repair. Look at this.
Yeah.
Oh, he might catch the Raven, though. That would be huge. Gets the Banshee instead, or
doesn't
almost.
get the Banshee. You know, all these DTs that Puzzle's making are very expensive, too. That's just a huge investment.
Very true.
Yeah.
Repairing the Banshee immediately and keeping that alive. Does a lot of extra DPS.
Yeah.
And you know, jjakji actually does not have very many Marines since he lost that reactor. He had to remake the reactor, so he only has 4 Marines out right now. 6 as 2 more pop out.
Well, this is a really interesting game.
Very true. I mean, that's actually a true statement what you just said there. It's a very interesting
game. It is a very interesting game. I'm like trying to, you know, work through the plans that each of these players have, and it's very different.
Well, part of the plan for jjakji is +1 vehicle plating, which is going to be an awesome upgrade to have with those Thors.
Well, this is clearly a very thought out build. He obviously needed to change it a little bit with the DTs, but you know, he definitely has a firm plan in this here. A second factory going out too.
Yeah.
So he's gonna maybe do some sort of transition into more mech-based play, or just make more Thors, I guess, too. Does get that observer there.
Yeah, sick range on the Thors, taking out that observer.
Yeah.
Making a Colossus now, expecting to see more Marines, but there aren't very many out right now. Stargate going down. More likely, the Stargate is going to be for Void Rays than Phoenixes.
Yep.
The problem, though, is with the composition jjakji's going to have, he should have enough to deal with the Void Rays in small numbers. I don't know when he's going to go, though. It's not exactly clear.
Yeah, it's just such an interesting game, man. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be strange. That Banshee's going to get away in time.
A second starport as well.
You know, jjakji's doing a great job keeping these Banshees alive. But yeah, second starport. And is that, yeah, another tech lab going down on the factory, so presumably more Thors. Or he could go tanks, but I think Thors would be a little bit better in this case.
Well, either way, man, it's going to be good. I mean, factory units are not used very often in this matchup, but when they are, they do quite well. Look at that, not even cloaking.
Still harassing with that Banshee. Yeah, saving all the cloak energy. This is just how good jjakji is. He's gotten so much mileage out of that. Yeah, and there's the Void Rays on the way. They do plus damage to massive units like Thors, so that's why it's a good answer to get those Thors. Can't hurt them very much.
Also totally shuts down airplay from those Banshees. I don't think it's going to be enough, though, man. There are 2 Thors being made at a time right now. There are 4 Thors out already, soon to be 6. They have +1 plating. In total, there are going to be 4 Banshees with this as well.
Oh, the DT just saw everything, though, and he's actually going to turn around and wait for those 2 Thors. Yeah, when you get like 6 or more Thors marching across the map, that's really difficult to deal with.
I mean, the supply itself for jjakji is up about 30 right now. And the DT seeing that actually means almost nothing because he knew what he was kind of dealing with.
Yeah.
But now he's like, oh man, I'm really in trouble. Like, I'm actually probably going to die here.
Well, I think most players would see that and think to themselves, he's actually doing it. He's actually still making Thors.
Yeah.
So, all right. 2 more Thors on the way.
He's got 2 Twilight Councils now. I'm not sure why.
Oh. Not getting strike cannons, though. This isn't going to be Jinro versus MC or anything. But this is like the new school version of that, I guess. Making Banshees and Thors. Lots of Banshees and Thors.
And 3 Marines at a time as well.
Yeah.
Puzzle continuing to make Colossi. Colossi in high numbers, especially if you can hold them at the top of the ramp, can really help out.
Yeah, the only thing is that there's going to be so many Banshees out that they're going to focus on the Colossi really quickly as well.
Strike cannons started and canceled, interestingly enough. We may see some medevacs come out here as well, or perhaps Vikings.
This is actually such a cool build. I love any excuse to get Thors out on the field.
Yeah, so Vikings really coming out instead of medevacs smarter. Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is really cool, and this is unusual, and I think he's going to actually just walk over Puzzle here. Puzzle is going to have a concave at the top of the ramp, but his Zealots are not going to be able to fire the way he wants them to. He's going to have to really micro those Colossi quite well. The question is, does he have range?
You know, jjakji is just waiting until he's maxed out, I think, basically, or close to it anyway, because he keeps moving forward a little bit, moving back, moving forward, moving back. Now it looks like he's actually going for that. That is a lot of Thors. And denying the 3rd as well with those Cloak Banshees that have been so useful all game long. And yep.
Pylon gets canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah, Puzzle just continuing to make Colossi. Let me give you guys some unit numbers. There are 9 Thors out right now, 3 Colossi, 4 Void Rays, just 1 Immortal, and 19 Zealots. Zealots decent against this type of composition, but only if they can really close the distance.
Yeah,
the key here is going to be the Banshees, though. If he can take out all the Void Rays and Stalkers, the Banshees will still do the extra damage. Here comes our fight. I don't think this is a good place for Puzzle to fight. Will he be able to get back up his ramp?
No.
Looks like just barely. No, he's not going to.
Oh boy, here we go.
Point defense going down.
And the Thor is hanging out in the back there. All the Marines getting fried, but the Banshees dealing huge amounts of damage. Look at the DPS.
I told you, man, those Banshees are going to do the real damage after all the anti-air is gone.
Yeah,
and that is going to be about it.
Colossi, though, doing a ton of damage themselves.
Vikings, though, coming out. Vikings and Banshees, all that are necessary now to end this game.
And you are left with just a scary Air Force for jjakji.
He lost all of his observers, too. He's trying to get an observer out. Not going to happen, though.
Yep. More Stalkers being warped in here. Trying to take out that Raven. Does get it.
DTs now if he wanted to, but that's not going to be very useful against Banshees.
Unless they get a jump upgrade or something. Victory Thor on the scene. And yeah, it's going to be difficult to deal with.
Warping and Zealots in plain range of these units. Not the best choice there.
Trying to focus on the Thor. GG and jjakji. NS also jjakji.
Oh, that's what it was.
Game 1. Oh, okay. Well, it's getting cold. We're going to see more of those.
Was not playing cards. I don't know. It just looked like that with a weird angle. I'm sorry, guys.
That game, though, man, that was just insane. I like it. That was a really cool build. Don't know if it really worked in a lot of maps and a lot of positions, but
I'm like,
this time.
I watched that game and I kind of looked at you and you looked at me and we were like, what are we seeing here?
It's like, is this actually gonna work? And Puzzle's like, well, that was weird.
Well,
he's like, but I was doing something too.
If your opponent goes for mech play in any way, shape, or form, if it's a Marine Tank Banshee, if it's a Marine Banshee Thor, or even if it's just like a Siege Expand, you don't want to go. DT's just not very good against that type of build. And
no kidding.
You know, when the Thors get there, you just don't have the right composition. What was the right composition to make? There isn't one, actually. There actually isn't one.
Maybe if your opponent, Immortals and
if your opponent starts Thors before you have a composition to deal with Thors, and he's ahead of you anyways, guess what? You don't win.
Well, you can feedback them now.
That's true.
Actually, that does like nothing.
It does very little
damage. Feedback does
damage.
not do much damage at all to Thors. They just have so many hit points, that's not really worth it. But
I mean, honestly, Thors are a unit I'm surprised we don't see more often in this matchup, especially in the early game. You saw the Colossi just melt to the Banshees and Vikings, and the Zealots, there were 19 of them. But when you guys watched that fight, you probably thought there were about 0 of them because that's how much they really did.
Well, he had the Banshees in the back. He did a good job of hanging back far enough to take out all the Zealots first and then move on to each next step of the army.
Why didn't Puzzle try to fight where he had a better concave at the top of a ramp? That's the real question. That would have been something that he could have used quite well in that situation.
He had an okay concave there as well, but you're right. On the low ground like that, you're prone to taking fire from everything rather than, not having vision up the ramp as well. But I think he was down there. He was like, well, I guess I'll just go for it.
I think it was a little bit
only
panicking,
game 1.
maybe. Yeah.
And it is only game 1.
It is only game 1. Both players warming their hands here. It is a little bit cold.
It's chilly in the studio today, yeah.
About 0 degrees Celsius.
When I got here in March, man, I used a lot of hand warmers, and I might have to start doing that again. It's pretty chilly out. All right, so our second map is going to be Calm Before the Storm. This is the map that everybody's talking about right now in TVP. It's produced a lot of interesting games. We're going to get into this one in just a moment. The loading screen is commencing. It's doing its thing. It's done. Who's going to come out on top in Game 2? Is it going to be Puzzle or jjakji? Let's find out right now. It is the GSL Codes.